Hello, sewing lovers! Today we're going to learn how to draft the pattern for this super chic and girly dress. Imagine a warm summer day in a peaceful garden and you're wearing this dress. Simple, airy, and cool, yet with details that truly catch the eye. This design is a perfect blend, light, summery, and filled with a sense of uniqueness. Look at its simple appearance, but wait until you see how stylish and unique it can be. The length of this dress falls to the ankle or just above. Feminine, delicate, and perfect for warm weather. Don't forget to turn on subtitles or the voiceover in your native language from the control settings for a better experience. In the fashion world, this style is called a sleeveless maxi dress or a summer maxi shirt dress. In sewing, we simply call it a maxi shirt dress with a fabric belt. This dress is perfect for summer walks, garden parties, gatherings with friends, or even a casual day out in the city. Pair it with sandals or summer heels, and you'll have a chic yet comfortable style. I always make it a habit to save even on pattern paper for the sake of our environment, and the same habit carries over when I cut fabric. I try to make the most of every piece. But I'm curious, how about you? Do you think the same way? Share your thoughts with me in the comments. The charm of this dress lies in choosing the right fabric. The best choices are natural and breathable materials. For that light and airy summer feeling, go for linen, cotton, or blends with natural silk. Here on the side seam, I need to raise the waistline by 1.5 centimeters. This adjustment is important because when the front and back side seams are sewn together, the fabric in this area tends to pull down. That's because the fabric is cut on the bias and the weave starts to loosen, causing the fabric to drape unevenly. To fix this issue, we correct the pattern by lifting the waistline 1.5 centimeters. For this dress, the fabric texture should be plain or finely woven. The weight should be light to medium, around 120 to 180 grams per square meter. Light enough to feel cool, yet structured enough to hold the shape of the dress. If you watched the video on drafting the basic pattern, you already know that I shifted the shoulder seam forward by 1.5 centimeters. I explained the reason in that video. If you haven't seen it yet, you can always go back and watch it later. By the way, the basic patterns video is available only for channel members. To access it, just click the join button. Now, for this design, which has a classic shirt collar, we need to adjust the neckline depth. So, starting from the neckline line, I reduce the depth by 2 centimeters. Since this design is sleeveless, we make the armhole a bit looser. If you're very sensitive and don't want the armhole to bother you in the summer heat, you can also add 2 centimeters of ease to the across-back measurement, just like we did with the shoulder. It's up to your preference. You can choose either option. fabric requirement, depending on the size, about 2 to 2.5 meters will be enough for this maxi design. To give the collar a nice structure and stand, I slant the button placket by 0.5 centimeter on the bias, just like this. In my previous tutorials, I mentioned that whenever a part of the pattern needs to be closed, you should first close that section on the paper pattern before cutting the fabric. Now, take a look at this facing piece. After cutting and opening the fold, do you see how the neckline line isn't smooth? If you skip this step, when you try to fold the fabric while sewing, you'll end up with not enough fabric, and the neckline won't sit nicely. Now, I'm going to transfer this dart to the center of the facing, right between the bust points. This way, the extra space turns into small gathers, and that's exactly what gives this design its unique charm. Now I'd like to add a bit more gathering in this area to make the design even more attractive. Of course, you can choose either option depending on your taste, but here's a tip. If you have a fuller bust, I don't recommend this style because the gathers draw more attention to that area and make the bust look bigger. This design works best for those with a smaller bust. When we add extra fullness in this area, we need to correct it along the center front line. By smoothing it out, we create a gentle curve that gives the pattern a clean and natural shape. To make sure you know exactly where the gather should start and end while sewing, mark balance points on the pattern. When cutting the fabric, notch those points. This way you'll have neat and even gathers. For designs that button down the front, always place one button right between the bust joints. This prevents the facing from pulling open at the bust. Then, set the rest of the button spacing based on that point. And here's another tip. In this style, the buttons are functional only down to the waistline. From the waist down, the buttons are decorative. But with the method I'm showing you, you can extend the opening as much as you like. Even turn it into a fully front open dress with a slit. For a front opening dress, place the buttons only up to this point, as shown in the pattern so far. But if you want the buttons to be decorative only, then remove 2 centimeters from the front-facing fold of the skirt, just like I did with the bodice. Imagine the skirt is part of our front opening dress, where the buttons will actually open and close. In this case, the facing needs to be folded twice. This way, it has enough thickness for the buttonholes, and the inside of the dress will look neat. But if you want the buttons to be decorative only, you should remove one of those folds. That way, when you sew the 2 facings together, it won't become too thick, and the buttons can simply be stitched on as decoration. The beauty of this design is that it's truly universal. For an hourglass body shape, it's perfect because it highlights the waist. For a pear shape, it works beautifully since the A-line skirt creates balance. For a rectangular figure, it's ideal because the belt defines the waistline. And even for apple shapes or inverted triangles, the loose skirt makes the whole look more balanced. That's why this style can easily be made in sizes from XS to 3XL. It's completely versatile. If you feel this tutorial was helpful and inspiring, I'd love your support. Hit the like button, leave me a comment, or share this video with your friends. It really helps me keep going and create even better content with more energy. And if you'd like access to exclusive lessons and extra support, check out the super thanks and join options right below this video next to the like and subscribe buttons. Thank you so much for being here. Your support truly means the world to me. Feel free to leave any suggestions or feedback for me in the comments. I'd love to hear your thoughts. It really helps me create better and more useful tutorials for you. Oh, and let me know where you're watching this video from. Now, at this stage, we need to check the back bodice length. Pay attention to your posture. Is your body leaning slightly forward or backward? This has a big effect on the balance between the back and front bodice length. In general, for a normal body shape, to avoid any wrinkling at the back of the dress, we add a small horizontal dart along the waistline. I'll leave the link to the video on accurate body measurements up here. Make sure to watch it later. If you haven't seen it yet, you're really missing out. So in the previous step, I took a 3 centimeter dart at the waistline, 1.5 for the bodice, and 1.5 for the skirt. Now, if the hips are more prominent, the back length of the dress will look shorter. To fix this, we add back that 1.5 centimeters along the hip line. Since the back skirt is placed on the fabric fold, this technique causes the upper part of the skirt pattern to shift slightly toward the side. So now, we also need to edit this part of the pattern. Here, I take the measurement of half the neckline that I already marked, and then I divide it by 3. I mark the measurement of half the neckline that I just took. Now for the belt, take your waist measurement and add 1 whole meter to it. That extra meter means you can tie a beautiful bow. For the width, make it 8 centimeters. Thank you so much for sticking with me till the end of this video. If you enjoyed this tutorial, please leave me a comment and hit that like button. This way, I can understand your style better and create future tutorials based on exactly what you love. Oh, and the basic pattern tutorial, plus another one I know you'll absolutely love, is right here.